Hello everyone, this presentation is on using Google Drive and Sites for ePortfolios. First, an introduction to ePortfolios. ePortfolios is a more dynamic and creative way of demonstrating a student's or group of students' work than traditional portfolios. ePortfolios can be worked on progressively by students and built over a period of time. And most of these programs that are out there for ePortfolio creation rely on cloud-based storage. And ePortfolios can be used for many different types of purposes. They include developmental, reflexive, and representational purposes. Developmental would be showing products or artifacts over a period of time. Reflexive would be when the user or student adds personal reflection to each artifact or product placed in their portfolio, or the process used to create these artifacts and the portfolio itself. And then representational would be demonstrating achievements or representing the total products or artifacts of the portfolio. And ePortfolios, of course, can be a combination of those three purposes as well, any combination. Now an introduction to Google Drive and Google Sites, because we're going to talk about how Google Drive used in conjunction with Google Sites can create a very effective ePortfolio. Google Drive is a cloud-based storage system that was launched officially in 2012. They started working on a lot of development since 2007, and it was officially launched in 2012. Users can store many different types of documents, file formats, pictures, videos, and more on Google Drive. Google Drive provides the user with 15 gigabytes of free storage. There is a cost for schools to use Google Drive with their students. Schools have to pay for the specific domain name, and there is a cost per user. But relatively speaking, for most users, especially for home use, Google Drive is free with the 15 gigabytes of storage. Google Drive works best with the Google Chrome browser from any device. Also works well from Chromebooks, devices specifically designed using the Chrome browser and for Google products, or an Android device. But Google Drive can be used relatively effectively with any internet connection. Now there are some exceptions to that. Sometimes if you use Internet Explorer or Firefox or an Apple device, you won't be able to get the full functionality of Google Drive. Google Drive is used effectively in conjunction with many Google applications such as Google Sheets, Forms, Docs, Slides, Sites, Google Classroom, which is used by many schools and higher level institutions, and many other Google applications. Users using Google Drive can share documents and files for collaboration purposes, editing purposes, or viewing rights only. And then Google Drive is great for ePortfolios as everything can be kept and stored in one place or accessed from one place. Files from Drive can also be inserted into a Google site for a basic or lower level ePortfolio, or for a higher level ePortfolio, which would be a more dynamic and creative ePortfolio. So first, let's talk a little bit about Drive and its outstanding benefits for ePortfolio creation. As you can see, I have many different types of folders in my Drive. That's beneficial for so many reasons for organization. Although you can search for items up here and also by the owner and the date, you want to stay organized when you're creating an ePortfolio in addition to inserting the items into your website. So what a student can do for their ePortfolio is go to New Folder, and they can name the folder now whatever they want. Maybe they name it Algebra 1 Portfolio. So now all the items that they have, you can change the color here to make it specific, all the items that they have or create, they can move into this portfolio and now save their items. I'm just going to delete this one, but save their items in one place. In saving items into Drive or a file folder, you could save so many different types of file formats. So if we click on one of my chapters that I have for my Algebra 1 course, you could see all the many different types of file formats that you could save into your Google Drive or into a specific folder. We have Google Docs, which is obviously most compatible with Google Drive, Google Forms, Google Spreadsheets, Google Slides, which is like PowerPoint, actual PowerPoint documents, Microsoft Word. There's actually now an app in Microsoft Word that directly allows you to save your Word documents into Drive without having to save them first and then going into new file upload. So that saves a little bit of time as well. JPEGs, PDFs. So again, so many different types of options for saving files, which allows for easier organization for ePortfolio creation. And you could save these things into Drive from most devices, such as even including Chromebooks or Android devices, or even other devices. A lot of times allow you to save items into Drive. So if you want to, if we go back into the folder we made specifically for the ePortfolio, you could create many different types of documents or file formats to go in that folder. So again, we create a Google Doc, Google Sheets, Google Slides. You could even insert maps into your Drive. If you go back in there, maps, drawings, calendar, Google Calendar. So you have many different options in terms of creating items specifically in that folder and saving them into Drive. And again, here's a quick glance at some of the other applications that you could use and save into your Google folder, into Drive. And there's many other ones that we're not showing here. Now, the features of Drive really promote sharing and collaboration, which is fantastic for an ePortfolio. Let me show you a quick example. If I go to an item I have in my Drive, and you have to do this for items that you share in your Google Sites, which we'll talk about in a second, because eventually you have to take the items from your folder for your ePortfolio and save them or insert them into your website. But your sharing settings have to be correct. So for example, if I open this quiz, and a student could make a quiz, or this could be a quiz that a student took, the student has the option before inserting this into their site to share it with certain people. So they could share it while they're working on it, perhaps maybe with their teacher, let's say. So they could type in their teacher's name. Maybe it's me. They could type in their teacher's name so they could view it while they're working on it. They could change the rights so they could edit the document, can comment only, or can view it only. And if you're giving somebody viewing rights only, you could disable options as well, such as, again, changing the document but downloading it, printing it, or making a copy for themselves. But again, this option really allows for collaboration amongst documents, but also it could limit sharing. So maybe you post a document to your ePortfolio that you only want the teacher to see. Or maybe you post a document to your ePortfolio in sites that you only want your classmates to see. And maybe you have some type of creation or product that you saved into your Drive that you want the whole world to see. Well, you could edit the sharing settings on that item. As you can see, the different options here. We could have everybody access it, or anyone with the link. So you could change these options to decide how you share the items in your ePortfolio. Again, that's a fantastic benefit for both students and teachers. And sharing your items while you're working on them in terms of a student perspective allows the teacher to provide timely feedback. Again, a fantastic feature of Drive for ePortfolios. And lastly, if we go back into Drive, Google engineers are constantly updating Drive daily based on their research, statistics, and user feedback. So even though it's already very user-friendly and great for ePortfolio creation, it's going to continue to get better and better. Now let's take a look at Google Sites to further explore how Google Sites can be used and integrated with Google Drive to create an effective ePortfolio with many different levels of portfolio creation. So I'm actually going to click on one of the websites I made previously. It's actually for a Wilkes University course. And this website is basically just like a type of website for an ePortfolio, because what I have for this website is different pages for the different units. And you can see that there's different types of products on each page. So here is a PDF file. This is integrated or added from Drive. If we click on the Unit 7, here is a YouTube video. And this, again, this YouTube video is self-created. But what's nice is that a lot of Google products that you make, you can integrate these into the website very easily once you add these into Drive. And actually, this particular video from YouTube, you don't even have to add it to Drive because YouTube is owned by Google, so you could just copy and paste the link accordingly. But let's go back to the home page and talk about a little bit with sites and how to use it. This button here for more actions, this does a lot of different features for sites. Revision history allows you to go back and go back to a previous version that you would maybe like better if you didn't like the way you did something. You could view the site as the viewer. You could you could choose from certain page templates for your web page, or you could save a certain page as a template if you plan on using it again and again in the future. Down here, a couple important options. Edit site layout. This is an important option to change how the site is laid out a little bit for the user, so you could change it to have folders on the side or at the bottom. Manage site. This is an important option for sites because here is where you decide certain options and rights. You can manage different pages from here. You could have different sharing and permissions for each actual web page, or here's the permissions for each page itself, or just overall permissions. And this is fantastic because maybe a student or somebody else has a page of their website for their ePortfolio that they only want certain people to see. So maybe for their ePortfolio, they have a page that's only for teachers to see. Maybe they have a page that's only for their classmates to see. And maybe the rest of the ePortfolio is for anyone to see. So you could actually change the permissions for each page, or again, permissions for the site in general through this option. And then finally, on the Manage Site option, we have themes, colors, and fonts, where you could change the entire way each page is set up. It does take a little bit of practice and trial and error to get used to these features, but again, just a basic overview on how to use these options in sites. This option here creates a new web page, and here we get to the edit button, the edit page. This is where we get a chance to really integrate Drive into Google Sites. So if you look, I could change the layout of the site to 1, 2, 3 columns and different types of sidebars. I could insert tables and insert rows and columns into the tables. I have a lot of options for my type, as well as these options are here. But here again is where Drive really comes into play, or anything dynamic that you create for your ePortfolio. So you could insert images or pictures from anywhere. Insert links. So maybe you do a timeline using another program for your ePortfolio. Well, here's where you'd insert the link, and you can name it whatever you want. So you can name it whatever you want and then insert that link. I usually click that option to have that link open in a new window, so the user still has access to my site, but it takes them to wherever I want them to go. And then you can see for Google products, and again Drive, here's where you can insert all the items from your Drive. So it allows for really, really dynamic ePortfolio creation, because you could insert different spreadsheets, a presentation, or Google Slides, any type of image. You see some Google products here for photos. Picasa could also be integrated here. You have Google Hangout that you could actually create links for in your web page for your ePortfolio. If you have a map, maybe it's a ePortfolio for history, you could use Google Maps for that. And then also you could insert any YouTube video into your site. So again, using Google Drive with Google Sites really allows for dynamic, creative, and effective ePortfolio creation of a student's work. It could be for a month, or it could be for a year, to demonstrate their overall understanding, their growth, and it really allows the user or the viewer to see how this student has grown over a period of time where standardized tests cannot show that. Now let's discuss the advantages of using Google Drive and Sites for ePortfolio creation. Using Drive and Sites promotes collaboration through the sharing, editing, and viewing features, and the applications of Drive and Sites are constantly being updated and improved upon based upon statistics and user feedback by Google engineers. Using Google Drive and Sites for ePortfolio creation is certainly a more dynamic and creative way of creating a portfolio in comparison to traditional portfolios. Research shows that students take ownership of their learning when they're using these types of newer technologies to create their portfolio, and it's very motivational. Using Drive and Sites allows for many different types of files and formats to be integrated into the ePortfolio and site, including pictures, videos, links, documents, calendars, maps, and many more different types of files and formats. Students can create an ePortfolio using Drive and Sites for free, and for schools and districts is for minimal cost. Using Drive and Sites for ePortfolio creation provides accessibility to all different types of learners and meets all different types of learning needs. Creating ePortfolios using Drive and Sites is great for students who have difficulty with verbal communication. Students can display profound achievements, demonstrate their work in a more personal and creative way than standardized tests could ever show. And students can demonstrate their growth and achievement over a long period of time, or a marking period, or a shorter period of time, or even a few years. Those last 2 points are true for any ePortfolio creation software program. And Drive and Sites naturally promotes collaboration with the peers and the teacher, and also allows for timely or immediate feedback. Now the disadvantages. Using Drive and Sites for ePortfolio creation does rely on an internet connection and cloud storage. It is very possible that work can be compromised on a cloud storage system. Students who are not well versed in technology may have difficulty using. In addition, it does take time to show students the features and applications and how to embed these materials into Drive and Sites. Oftentimes, using all the features of Sites and setting them up is more difficult for the ePortfolio. There is issues with security for formal and informal assessments that teachers create. A lot of times students can't use these items for their ePortfolio because of the security of the assessment. Students who have difficulty typing may need to use another assistive technology in junction with Drive and Sites. There's an argument that Drive and Sites is not as dynamic and interactive as many other ePortfolio software programs currently out there and being creative. However, if you look at Sites, you can embed any different types of file formats and links. So if you create something more dynamic, such as a timeline or something else, you could simply provide a link to it and put that all in the site. And some applications and features may not work properly if the user is not using the Chrome browser, a Chromebook, or an Android compatible device. So it is recommended that students who are creating ePortfolios using Google Drive and Sites do so using the Chrome browser, a Chromebook, or an Android device. Thank you for viewing this video on using Google Drive and Google Sites for ePortfolio creation. Using Drive and Sites for ePortfolio creation is certainly a way more appealing, dynamic, effective, and creative way of creating a portfolio in comparison to traditional portfolios, and demonstrates student achievement over a specific period of time or a certain period of time in a way that standardized tests could never ever measure. If you have any questions, please consult my resources at the end of the video.